What is going on, everybody? Conference Championship week is finally here, and I've been highly anticipating this week for a while now. Now this week is going to be great with 5 ranked matchups and 2 top 10 matchups. So in this video, I wanted to predict every single conference championship game this week. But before I do get into this video, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And also turn on notifications for more daily uploads like this one. I will have some big separate previews of the games with playoff implications coming out this week. But we aren't there yet, so let's start off with making my predictions this week. Now to start, the first conference championship game is New Mexico State versus number 25 Liberty. I will be looking at all of the games, even the games outside of the top 25. But anyways, I do have Liberty winning this game 30-27. I got New Mexico State covering the spread, and I have the over. Liberty has a chance to finish the season 13-0 and possibly have a shot at playing in a New Year's Six Bowl if Tulane loses to SMU, which in that case, the committee would have to pick between 2-loss SMU and an undefeated Liberty. But the American Conference is obviously better than the Conference USA. But let's not overlook this game between New Mexico State and Liberty. A lot of people may not watch it, but it should be a fun game, and it's a rematch between the two teams. At the start of the year, Liberty did beat New Mexico State 33-17. I do think both of these teams will have a lot of momentum going into this game. Liberty with the chance of finishing 13-0, and New Mexico State, a team that has been on a winning streak and actually played 13 games this year, which is more than the attended 12-game regular season that is more common among teams. But New Mexico State is coming off a win against an SEC team, Auburn. If you went back a couple years ago and told me New Mexico State would beat an SEC school in 2023, I wouldn't believe you. But anyways, this should be a good game, even though it's not a very hyped up game. But don't worry, because the next game I'm about to talk about has been very hyped up since their first game halfway through the season, and it's going to be the rematch between the two teams. And that game is number 6 Oregon versus number 4 Washington. I do have Oregon winning this game 34-24. I got Oregon covering the spread, and I do have the under. What a reinsurance this has to be for the Pac-12 in the last year of its existence. I can't even begin with saying how big this game is going to be, because the winner of this game almost guarantees a playoff spot. And since 2014, the Pac-12 has beat each other up and knocked each other out of the playoffs, only making the playoffs twice. But this is a chance for these two teams to make a statement going into this game, with a lot of stakes on the line. You have two quarterbacks who have had a lot of experience playing ball, and this game might just decide who wins the Heisman Trophy. This game is possibly going to be a top 5 matchup depending on where these teams are ranked in the upcoming playoff rankings. And this is the last ever conference championship game in a year that the Pac-12 has risen up, but it's going to be a sad farewell to the Pac-12 conference with all the realignment stuff going on. And there's no better way to go out with 2 top 5 teams playing for the Heisman Trophy and a spot in the last 14 playoffs. The Pac-12 has questionably been the worst conference out of all the Power 5 conferences up to date. But this year was a different story, and I do have Oregon winning this game because I'm very high on this team. And I do think that Oregon has been playing a lot better football on both sides of the ball than Washington has been. But if Washington gets their offense going and plays their A game when it matters the most, which I'm hoping they will play their A game against a defense that is near the top in every category, because if Washington doesn't come out to play, it's going to be a long day for them. This game will be on a Friday night, so do not forget to tune in for this game, because it's going to be a history-making game and a game that nobody will forget. The next game is number 20 Oklahoma State at number 7 Texas. I got Texas winning this game 31-24. I got Oklahoma State covering the spread, and I have the under. I said this conference championship week is going to be a big one, and what a game this should be. And I got to start with saying I don't think this Oklahoma State team gets a lot of credit from what they've done turning their season around after starting 2-2 and losing to South Alabama by 26. But there's no denying that this Oklahoma State team is a very streaky team, and a lot of their game relies on their running back, Ollie Gordon. And Texas has shown that they have one of the best rush defenses in the country. But I do think Oklahoma State plays a good game. I know Oklahoma State has been underperforming lately, and they lost to UCF 45-3. But don't forget that this team beat Oklahoma and is still 9-3, and they're here for a reason. But I still don't think Oklahoma State will win this game because Texas has looked like a really good football team lately. And I do think Texas has a lot of advantages going into this game with that rush defense they have. So I do have Texas winning this game, but Oklahoma State keeping it close. The next game is Miami, Ohio versus Toledo. I got Miami, Ohio winning the rematch 24-21, and I got Miami, Ohio covering the spread, and I have the under. This is another rematch from the regular season, just like the Pac-12 championship game and just like the Conference USA championship game. The last time these two teams played, Toledo actually won it 21-17, but it was so close, and it's hard to beat a team twice, and I don't know much about these two teams other than them both having solid defenses. But I do have Miami, Ohio winning this game in the rematch. Miami, Ohio has been winning games lately by more than Toledo, and after losing to Toledo, they beat a pretty solid Ohio team, 30-16. And Ohio actually beat Iowa State at the start of the year. So that is an interesting fact. But the MAC is actually a solid group of 5 conference this year. I wouldn't say they're close to the American, but maybe they're close to the Mountain West. Miami, Ohio versus Toledo should be an interesting rematch though. And the next game is Boise State versus UNLV, which is the Mountain West Championship game. And I do have Boise State winning this game 31-21. I got Boise State covering the spread and add the under. This was a game I wasn't expecting to see, as I was actually expecting Air Force and Fresno State to play in the Mountain West Conference Championship. But the Mountain West did look like the best group of 5 conference midway through the year. But now it looks clear that the American Conference is definitely better this year. But give props to UNLV on the season they've had, as they are now 9-3. What a turnaround for the program. And also give props to this Boise State team, a team that looked like they weren't even going to make a bowl game, but they're now 7-5. Definitely not the best season, but I have seen this Boise State team improve, and they're actually a decent football team. And here's a fun fact. Boise State hasn't had a losing record since 1997. That's honestly crazy to me, to be consistently good for so many years. But they have been in a group of 5 conference forever, but it is still impressive to me. And yes, I do have Boise State winning this game. I think these teams are very even, but UNLV is coming off a loss while Boise State has been on a 3-game winning streak. So I don't know why I'm picking Boise State. They have looked like the better team lately, but UNLV also has a really solid quarterback, so I can see this game going either way. I would not bet on this game though. And oh, what about this game? Number 1 Georgia versus number 8 Alabama. I have Georgia actually winning this game in a higher scoring game, 42-35. I have Georgia covering the spread and add the over. Call me bold for predicting the score to be that high, but I truly believe this is the type of game where both offenses are better than their defenses. Alabama and Georgia have both been really good on offense this year, and I feel like they both show up to play. Jalen Milroe is going to get a lot of big plays against the Georgia defense that has actually given up a lot of big plays this year. And I see Georgia's offense continuing to do what they've been doing all year and score points. I do think this could be a lower scoring game, but I just feel like it's one of the rare games where the offense outshines the defense, and this is a very bold take by me. But anyways, no matter what happens, if it's 7-3, if it's 24-21, or even if it's actually 42-35, I'm excited to see what this game has to offer. This is a huge rematch from years ago. The last team to knock off Georgia was Alabama in the 2021 SEC Championship game. But I don't think Alabama will beat this Georgia team, and I think we are in the new era of Kirby Smart. But just like Oregon and Washington, this will be a history-making game with 2 powerhouse teams trying to claim the top of the SEC and trying to claim the title of the best coach in college football. The next game is SMU at number 23 Tulane. I got SMU winning this game 35-28. I got SMU covering the spread, and I have the over. I think it's kind of weird how low the under is, as it is at 50.5. But with this SMU offense and how many points they've been scoring, I feel like this should be a higher scoring game. But I guess analytics is really high on Tulane. But I do have SMU winning this game, because I am really high on this SMU team and their ability they have to dominate games like Tulane can't. And also how many points SMU is able to put up. SMU has had a really good offense. And this is a game that I'm actually really excited for, even if it's on the same time as Georgia and Alabama. Because I've been waiting for this SMU team to expose this overrated Tulane team. But they continue to shut me up week after week by winning close games against bad teams. But last week they played a solid UTSA team and controlled the game pretty well. So I do have to admit I have doubted Tulane too much. And I keep saying they aren't as good as last year and shouldn't be 11-1. And I truly believe that. But this is it. I'm going with SMU to prove me right and beat Tulane. But if Tulane wins, I'll take everything I said about Tulane being overrated back. The next game is Appalachian State versus Troy. I got Troy winning this game 30-24. I got App State covering the spread and I had the over. What about this game? 2 teams that have been on huge winning streaks lately and both winning their last 5 games. And Troy actually being on a 9-game winning streak after starting the year 1-2. That's pretty impressive. Appalachian State was the only team to knock off James Madison. And if it wasn't for the NCAA rules, it would be James Madison and Troy in this game. But Appalachian State catches a break because James Madison can't play in the conference championship. And maybe App State deserves it more because they did ultimately win the head-to-head against James Madison. But anyways, I know this App State team has lost all their games in very close one-possession games. And Appalachian State's a pretty solid team. But Troy's also a solid team. And they have been on a 9-game winning streak. And I actually have Troy winning a close game. And on to the game of the week. Number 3 Michigan at number 17 Iowa. That's a joke. It's not the game of the week. But I have Michigan winning this game 27-10. I got Iowa covering the spread and I have the over. Who actually believes Iowa could win this game? If Iowa wants to win this game, the score has to be like 10-7. And I don't see Iowa holding a Michigan offense that runs the ball super well to under 10 points. This game is kind of an irrelevant ranked matchup, and I don't have much to say about this game, but oh boy, would Iowa break the internet if they somehow knocked off Michigan. Then in which that case, Michigan wouldn't even make the playoffs. There's going to be a lot of people rooting against Michigan and for Iowa to win, but you're in for a disappointment if you want Iowa to win, because you might as well call this Iowa team a disappointment by now. Jokes aside, I have Michigan dominating this game, but I do actually have Iowa covering the spread, so good for you guys. And on to the last game of the night. Number 10 Louisville at number 5 Florida State. Here it is, guys. I got Louisville winning the game 23-17. I got Louisville covering the spread and I have the under. This is a game with a lot of pressure on Florida State. Everybody is going to be rooting for Florida State to lose unless you're a Florida State fan. And the committee is going to have eyes on that Florida State offense. And the odd elephant in the room is the question on if Florida State somehow wins this game. Will the committee still let them in the playoffs with a backup quarterback? I say let them in if they go 13-0. But there might be a debate because of how many legit contenders there are this year. So maybe a one-loss team jumps Florida State, I don't know. But I do think Florida State is due to lose a game. Louisville has a solid defense and are really good at pressuring the quarterback. So Tate Rodemaker and that offensive line really needs to step up or they're in for a long day. It should be an interesting game though. But a lot of people should be rooting for Florida State to lose this game because if they make the playoffs, it's not going to be good for Florida State. I'm just calling it right now. If Florida State makes the playoff, they're going to lose by at least 20. But that is going to do it for my conference championship week picks and predictions. I will have more separate previews on some of the bigger games coming out this week. So tune in for more videos this week. And also before you click off, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also turn on notifications because we post every day and you don't want to miss our daily uploads. But that is going to do it and peace out guys.